Okay, my friends, let's make seed tape because it's 10 degrees outside here in January and I can't be outside in the garden, so I might as well put myself to good use. And this is a fun little craft project that you can do with kids, you can do it yourself, and honestly, it is really helpful in the garden. Even though it feels like a throwaway chore to do to keep myself busy inside, it really does serve a purpose. So here's what you're gonna need. Roll of toilet paper. Remember when we all stockpiled this during COVID? I hope you have some left. Cheaper the better, nothing expensive. You will need some toothpicks. You'll need a little container of equal amounts of flour and water mixed together until it is like a paste, because what we're making is paste. And this makes a really hard glue. If you've never used flour and water before, maybe you never did paper mache as a kid, but this is what you use to make paper mache, and it's hard. So this is gonna get like glue. And then you'll need your seeds. So I am using, this is only for tiny seeds. We only do tiny seeds for seed tape. That's why, because when the seeds are big, these are watermelon seeds, right? See how big that is? I'm gonna plant that in the ground and it's gonna germinate there, set roots and grow up, and will probably go completely undisturbed if I just plant it in the ground because it's a big seed, so it's gonna go about an inch to an inch and a half down. But all these little tiny seeds that we plant, they are so little, you guys. If I can show you one on my finger, I'm gonna watch. See how itty bitty that is? So here's what happens. Here's why we do this. You go out in the spring and you plant all your little tiny seeds. You plant basil and you plant lettuce and chamomile and all this other stuff. And their seeds are so tiny, you sprinkle them in there, then you cover them just with a little bit of soil. And then I start getting messages about a month later. I planted those lettuce seeds like you told me to, and the basil, and nothing came up. They weren't good. What happened? What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Here's what probably happened. You sprinkled those tiny little seeds on top of the soil because they can't go deep when they're tiny. You put a little soil on top and maybe you wet them, and then a spring rain came, and some of those spring rains can be real downpours or flooding. And water's powerful. The stream of rain doesn't even have to be that hard, and it will push all these out of the way. And what ends up happening is the seeds end up getting moved, buried deeper in the soil, where if they germinate, they'll never make it to the surface, or they go off to the corners of the bed where they germinate and they just look like weeds and you don't know what they were. And all your careful planting in the middle of the bed is wasted and gone. So here's what seed tape does. Watch what I'm gonna do. We're gonna take a piece of toilet paper. I'm gonna take, just for demonstration purposes, I normally make these 4 feet long because my garden beds are 4 feet wide, but just for the purposes of demonstration, I'm making this smaller one. So I'm gonna lay it down here and I'm gonna fold it in half, long ways, like this, okay? So it will look like this. And again, great thing to do with kids, or if you just need a little sanity, pour yourself a glass of wine or get a little snack, open Netflix up and set up your whole seed tape library, all your materials, and just sit and relax and get this done, and you'll be so glad to have these in the spring. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I've got my paste here and a toothpick, and I'm gonna drop some paste right on that center line, and I'm also gonna drop a line of dots right down the middle of one side here too, because these are basil seeds and they are perfectly happy to be planted within an inch of each other. So I really could make these closer. I've done about 12, and now I'm gonna take the same toothpick and I'm gonna pick up my little seeds and drop each one into a little glob of glue. And so here's what's gonna happen. I have done this one for you already. See, this is what this looks like. Okay, and here's one that is drying that I folded up. When you're done, you're gonna wanna fold them, and don't forget to label them. So I've got my Sharpie, I'm gonna write basil on these. So if at this point you're like, I've never heard of seed tape and I don't know why you're doing this, can you please tell me? Here's the solution. When you put this in the soil in the spring, I'm gonna unroll these and I'm gonna lay them across my beds right next to each other all the way across. I'm gonna put a light dusting of soil on top. I'm gonna make sure the soil is soaked really well. And then you know as well as I do that toilet paper, when it gets wet, it just comes right apart. You can put your finger right through it. So this toilet paper will hold the seeds in place when it gets rainy and really wet and even through a downpour, but it's not so strong that it will keep the seeds from germinating and pushing through. If you used cardboard or magazines or newspaper, they might provide enough resistance that that little baby seed can't push through. But toilet paper does the trick, and then it will just dissolve in your bed, especially if you're buying scent-free or non-toxic toilet paper. It's not going to leave any scents or chemicals or anything, just little paper fibers that will break down like compost. So when I'm done, I'm going to have a whole bunch of these labeled. I'm going to fold them all up. I'm going to put them in my fancy, look at right there, can you see that behind me? My fancy seed sorter and container. I love this thing, but I want to tell you, I did not go out and buy it new because I'm really trying not to buy a lot of plastic. It was my husband's in the workshop and he's not using it any longer, so I inherited it for my seeds. All right, what questions do you have about seed tape? It's such a fun project. It's easy. Anyone can do it. Do it with your kids. Do your garden club get together, and you will be really glad in the spring when all those seeds that are so time consuming to plant or wash away easily are organized, all ready to go in the seed tape, and it will all germinate right in the right place and grow where you want it to grow. All right, let me know if you have questions. Tony Farmer, and I'm not in my garden today because it's too cold.